Welcome all, Dax here. So I was browsing through YouTube and I stumbled across this post by Janemba8000. And going through, I took a look at some of the comment section and I was thinking to myself, wow, these are a lot of bad, uneducated, or fantasy takes. So why not go over some of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's bad takes? Now, not all of these are actually bad, but there are quite a few of them. This first one says, lack of local multiplayer and crossplay would be so disappointing. And I kind of agree about the crossplay, but the multiplayer, they've basically confirmed that there's no multiplayer, and it looks like this person's not alone. There's a ton of these comments, like I would say more than half of them are about a lack of local multiplayer. And I get it, I would like to have local multiplayer, but at the same time, I feel like to cite that's a deal breaker just seems a little dramatic to me. I mean, think about it. This game, the last game in this series came out in 2007, and you would think that most of those people between the ages of like 25 to like 40, maybe 45, that's a key demographic for people who are, having kids, have families. Game time is typically like after hours, after the kids have gone to bed. Like that's when most of the people who are interested in this game, who plan on buying it, actually have time to play. So I just think the idea of local multiplayer is more important than actually playing the game that way. I mean, again, don't get me wrong, it'd be nice, but I have a hard time believing that many people actually, this would be a deal breaker to them. I mean, it almost seems like some of the fans here are looking for a nostalgia trip, which would be more fitting of like a remastered collection or some sort of a remake, not necessarily a new game to the series. Now, crossplay on the other hand, that would suck. I think that could genuinely be a deal breaker to some. This next one here says, paying for characters that should already be in the game. I need my GT and movie characters in the game. And so I put a couple here just because there are a lot of people who feel this way. This is probably the second most popular sentiment on here about GT and just characters in general being locked away. And I get it, like no one likes paying full price for a game and then having to pay extra, but at the same time it seems a little short-sighted and not really big picture. Like a couple things. So DLC today is basically the equivalent to a new game release a year later. Like Tenkaichi 1 to Tenkaichi 2 to Tenkaichi 3, those all came out 1 year apart each, and all of those games were full priced. Was Tenkaichi 3 really that much better than 2? No, it was mostly the same thing. If anything, you could argue it was even worse because the story mode was a little bit of a downgrade in most people's opinion. The only thing that was really a true improvement was the roster, and even then, they only added a few extra characters. So like, is DLC really the end of the world? I think that part's a little overblown. The other thing you have to think about too is they had 160 something characters, and now they also most likely will have 160 something characters. You have to replace some of your more obscure characters like your Dr. Wheelos to make room for new must-have characters like Jiren. Because, everyone thinks that it's just as easy as copy and pasting a character over from the old games. You don't just copy and paste. Like every single character and transformation has to be remade from the ground up. I mean, sure, it'd be nice if they had 250 off the bat, but like that's a lot of time, money, and resources, and I would imagine they want to see some sort of return to help them get to that number. I just think that this is what they're offering is a nice middle ground. Now GT would be nice to have included in the game, but at the same time, like if you throw out all the good characters from the very get-go and you have 200 plus characters and then you add 50 in DLC, and if those 50 characters are all not in high demand, then why is anyone going to buy the DLC? That's just kind of a basic business thing. Too many Saiyans, no Kata Pesla. I had to look up who that even was. It looks like he's from the Universe Survival arc, one of the other universes. I don't know, I don't really agree. Saiyans are awesome. It's like having no Jedis in Star Wars. Like, yeah, we want other characters too, but give me plenty of Saiyans. Saiyans are awesome. Transformations are awesome. This next one says, really the only thing I could see being an issue is just the story and what if sorts of things being short and every character being unlocked from the start alongside custom items like in the previous ones. For instance, in the previous, you always worked to unlock certain characters and even did secrets to unlock hidden. Okay, you can read the rest on the screen. The point I think they're trying to make is it's really rewarding and fun to unlock characters, and I 100% agree with this. That's probably one of my favorite things about the original games is they give you a healthy amount of characters to start off with, and then you actually have to work for the other ones. So there's definitely a sense of accomplishment. I actually already disappointing because the variance, but I will just deal with it. I've never really understood why this was a big deal. Like, characters like Goku and Vegeta have 5 different variations because they have the variety of transformations, outfits, and special moves to actually justify it. I mean, the only thing I could think of, as I mentioned in my wishlist videos, if they made characters have equipped items, so you could equip transformations and equip special moves and customize them that way, but I feel like having multiple variations is good. I mean, I guess maybe you could organize it in a way where you click on Goku and then from there you have Goku early, mid, late, GT, Super, and then you can choose your transformation. I mean, that would be one way to organize it, but I don't really understand why people don't like the variations. Since BT3 had 198 characters and a total of 161 transformations, I'd be really disappointed that the vanilla version had less than that. But from the trailers and gameplay footage, I can already see that it's going to be an issue. 168 characters, but they count transformation forms like a character. So I'm expecting 50 characters max, and you have to pay DLC. Gotta milk the cow. Don't expect GT, DB, and the majority of movie characters. You'll pay for those in 15 DLCs and season passes. So to the GT, DB and characters, movie characters, I would agree. It's probably going to be a DLC, but I would hope it's nothing too aggressive. But that's kind of up in the air. Now, if you look at these numbers, this math ain't quite mathing up. So there was 161. We're now looking at 168, but I think it's actually 164. How do you go from 98 characters and 161 forms to then 168 but with 50 characters? I would essentially look at it as the roster is very close to the same at launch. You are going to be sacrificing some of those other characters to make room for the new ones, and the old characters will come out over time, at least a majority of them. Having weird convoluted controls like the original series. Yeah, I don't know about that. I always thought the original controls made perfect sense. Maybe I was young, so I was impressionable, but I've been playing the game a bit here and there, and I really don't think they're that complicated. I don't really know how you would make them that much better. No GT and androids still not being able to charge ki. I respectfully disagree. I loved how that was a unique mechanic. It spices things up a little bit because with these games, all the characters have the same controls. It's just their specials change, and so having any sort of variation can go a long way, and I think it's cool that they don't have to charge. And it's accurate to the source material, and so a lot of people probably like that about that as well. So I have a feeling you're probably in the minority here. That's all the comments that I kind of went over. There's a few one-offs and quite a few I agree with, but those two things, the paying for characters and the local multiplayer, I just saw so many comments talking about this, and I just feel like both of them are a bit silly if you think about it. Again, with multiplayer it'd be nice, but like, are you really telling me there's really that much of a huge demand for it? Like, I feel like it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's a vocal minority. With the paying for characters, it's like, there's pros and cons, but I really don't think it's that big of a deal, assuming they're not priced terribly. Another thing is just the lack of single player content. That would be kind of a big issue for me. I really hope they have a good variety of modes and customization options. I hope for the health of the game, the netcode is good, because they don't necessarily, Bandai Namco doesn't have the best track record when it comes to other Dragon Ball games. So I really do think that's going to be important, but that's for the health of the overall game. I do hope they nail that. But Let me know. I'm excited. I think it's important to have reasonable expectations. If you like the video, leave a like. As always, appreciate you for watching, and until next time, see ya.